personal trainer. And short introduction, which I just did, and the reason for me doing this video. I've noticed that over the last few years, there have been some exercises that certain instructors, and I'm not naming the names of the instructors, I'm just letting you know there are certain instructors that will put out videos, whether streaming or on DVD, that I may not be able to do in the method that they do it. But I use a modification so that I can still feel it in the muscles that I need to feel it in, still be able to get a workout done. And that's why I'm doing this video, is to show exercise modifications for certain exercises from different video series. The video series that I'm going to be doing, and this is a part 2 from the Body Blast series. Now, Body Blast series, now it's not strictly from this one. This is just one of the Body Blast series DVDs that I happen to have. I also use the on-demand, and I have access to it that way, so I don't need to have all the DVDs because I'm using the on-demand as well. Now there's a full list here, but the top exercises I've already done. It's the bottom exercises that I'll be demonstrating today in the Body Blast series. So, let me get started. I'm going to try to make this video 30 minutes or less in length. Just for efficiency. Now, the first exercise I'm going to demonstrate, standing outer thigh lifts. And on this one, let's see, are there any exercises that... Okay, there may be one exercise where I have to use a bench, but I'll bring the bench down and do that, and I'll also do a demo on the floor to show those that don't have a bench at their house. In fact, I'll just do, for those that have a bench, they're going to know how to use it. I'll just do the demo on the floor to do that. And so I'm going to move this step out of the way. I was using it for part 1 video on the Body Blast series, and you can take a look at that if you want. No problem there. If you don't want to look at it, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Standing outer thigh lifts. So, the standing outer thigh lifts are probably going to use some type of a chair or bar of some type to do this. And so I'm going to use the fit tower. If you don't have a fit tower, you can use a chair, a wall, that would work as well. So shifting your weight onto one leg, the other leg is going to be doing the lifting. So like this. Now, if you want to make it a little more, if you want to give yourself a challenge, I'm going to get closer to here so that I can still hold on to the device. There's your challenge. Now, since this is a modification video, that'll probably be the only challenge that I show you. Standing outer thigh lift. And this is there to make sure that you don't get all wobbly and such. So for those that want to challenge their balance, just do it like this, standing. Perfectly fine. Okay. Glute and ham tucks. Now I don't recall, I think this one is done using a stability ball, but I'm going to use a step for this one, because if you have issues with balance, the stability ball is not going to be a good device for you to use on this one. And those may have with vertigo also. This one's going to be the one to use. And so the glute and ham tucks. And if you're not able to get down onto the floor like this, then I would say either omitting this exercise or doing the exercise standing would be the way to go. And I can show you the standing exercise when I get done with this one. So, lying down, heels on the step. I use a 14-inch step. And so I have my hands out to the side, and so pushing your heels into the step. See how my pelvis is tucking up ever so slightly. Now on a stability ball, you would press into the ball and then roll it in. But I'm taking that factor out, because those that have balance issues, it's really going to just mess you up. So that's why I'm having you to do it on the step. Or that's why I'm showing you how you can do it on the step. Now, the modification that you can do, and this may be a little bit tricky to do, that's why I said omit that exercise if you can't get down onto your knees, is taking this device, both feet in it, so taking the band and putting both feet in it, one hand on a bar or chair, opposite foot back, there we go, okay. I was trying to remember, I remember doing this before, and so what happens is, you push this bent leg back ever so slightly, and it works all through here. It's a subtle move. It's a very subtle move. Now, if you were to put the tubing on the floor, then yeah, you do get more range doing it that way. But it will still work that same area, doing it standing. I recommend doing it seated though, because with the pelvic tuck, doing that, it helps to open up the back a little bit better, as opposed to pushing this back, which closes this low back area. And some of us are kind of hunched over anyway, so it seems to make sense to do it lying down. Okay. We have, it says outer thigh glute sweeps. Now, It doesn't say standing, it just says outer thigh glute sweeps. So I'm going to assume that Kathy was lying on her side and doing an outer thigh sweep. So I'm going to use the band. Use my step to help me get down. My top leg is going to be the moving leg. Lying on the hip. And so your outer thigh sweeps. Now, if this is too difficult, or if you notice that I'm not doing the exercise that Kathy is doing, then write a comment in there and I'll look at the video. I can look at the video again. And so doing this. Barbell squats. I don't use a barbell when I do my squats. I do it with dumbbells, which I have here. Okay. When I use the dumbbells, I have the palms where they face my body, my legs. Weight shifted into my heels. And before I begin, I shift my butt back. Then I bend my knees, keeping my back straight and flat. So my head's not drooping down like this, it stays upright. And then when my knees tell me you're not going to go any further down, then I push into the heels to stand. This is how I do the modification. And if you're doing it correctly, you should feel it in the glute and in the front of the leg. Maybe a little bit in the back of the leg, but it's going to be mostly in the front. Tricep kickbacks. I'm going to use a lighter weight. I'll use a 4-pound dumbbell just for demonstration purposes. And so for the dumbbell tricep kickback, anytime Kathy is doing this for the tricep kickback, I put one foot on the step and I do this. So you want to imagine that you're pinning your elbow in towards your waist and push that forearm to the rear of the room, behind you. This is how I modify it. Now, if you want to get a little more out of it, even in this position, you turn the palm to the ceiling as you're pushing the dumbbell behind you. See how I'm rotating? That gets a different head of the tricep involved at the end of the movement. Okay. Barbell bench press. I'm not going to use a barbell, and I'm not going to use a bench. I'm going to use the floor. Now, some people like to use the bench. That's fine. I don't have a problem with using the bench. But there's some people that don't really feel comfortable using a bench. And so that's why I'm showing this modification. I'm using 8-pound dumbbells. I'm not trying to go super heavy. I'll probably feel it in my chest because I haven't been able to get a really good strength training workout in a little while. Roll yourself down. Okay. So for the bench press, you start with your arms in a goal post position. So the upper arm is on the floor to the elbow, So you're not like this. The elbow is bent at roughly a 90-degree angle. Your knees can be bent, feet on the floor. If it's comfortable for you to do this, that's fine. I tend to have an exaggeration in my low back, so it feels more comfortable for me to bend my knees. Now, with the weight in your palm, notice that my fingers are not grasping the dumbbells, they're open. Push into the palm to get the weights up. Bend at the elbows to bring the weights down. Now when you first start, yes, you can touch the floor. But once you have a knack of this, the hang of it, then try to control, because right now the arms are barely touching the floor, just tiny little bit touching the floor. That's how I would modify it, is doing the exercise on the floor for those that have balance issues, so that you know you're on a solid surface, you know you're not going to roll off the bench. And if you have a hard time getting down onto the floor, then I would say do a standing chest press, and let me show you how I do it. And you don't have to use dumbbells. Dumbbells are going to be way too heavy. So in a standing chest press, you can do it seated, you can do it standing. So for the chest press, you clasp your hands are here, you clasp them together, and you push palm to palm. Now I'm going to come a little bit closer so you might be able to see. You see how my chest engaged there when I started? Turn it this way. That works all through here, all through the chest. And so if Kathy's going through a rep pattern, say slow down for 6, up on 2, then what you do is when you're doing this pattern, slowly add the compression, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the tightest, and then let up 1, 2. You do the same pattern, but you're doing it in micro movements. Teeny, tiny micro movements, but you're still feeling the work. That's the whole point of this. Okay, barbell plie squats. I'm going to show you how to do those with a dumbbell, well, with a set of dumbbells. And I showed it to you in the 2 previous videos, but I want to show it to you once more here. So opening the legs up into a V formation. So if you were to look down, then your legs look like they're in a V, the letter V. I put my dumbbells here in the little notch, because a lot of times when people do put them here, when they go down, they tend to do this, because the weight carries them down. Okay, your body weight is in your heels. Bend your knees. Push into your heels to stand. You don't want to come all the way in. Stay out with the legs, with the feet. Push into the heels. You want to feel it in the inner thigh, and a little bit in the glute, and high up in the outer thigh. So here, and a little bit through there. Just the tiniest bit, but it's more in the inner thigh. Okay. Final exercise. One leg squats. Okay, with this exercise, I do it in this fashion. If you know which is your weaker leg, then use the weaker leg as the one that you're standing on. So today, I'm going to use this leg as my weaker leg. I may regret that. Because even when I'm doing Kathy workouts, I tend to do non-dominant training first, or the weaker side first. and then go into my dominant side. More on that later. Dumbbells facing the body, palms facing the body. Stick the boot out there just a little bit. Bend the working knee. So this knee here, you want to bend it and let the butt sink back behind you as you let the weight carry you down. Push into your heel to stand. Now sometimes I find I can go further down on one knee on one day than I can on the other. I'm like, that's interesting. And so I'm going to switch legs. Stick the booty out there. Bend the knee. And if you find that your knee is shooting past your toe and you can't see your toe, you've gone too far. Push into the heel to stand. Wow. Once more. And this also helps with balance and coordination. You don't even have to add dumbbells to this, and it still works you. You still feel it. Because it works the stabilizing muscles through your leg that you may not feel when you're just doing a regular standard squat. Okay, and the reason that I tend to do non-dominant training first is throughout a workout, you tend to have more energy at the beginning, typically, than you do at the end. Now, if you're doing one of these yoga type workouts, you may have more energy at the end than you do at the beginning. Because in a lot of them, they have this very meditative type music, and sometimes it puts me to sleep in the beginning, but I digress. When you're training the non-dominant side first, you're going to give that non-dominant side a slight advantage, where the non-dominant side, you'll be able to strengthen it a little bit better when you use that first. Then you train the dominant side, because the dominant side's already going to be strong enough. But the non-dominant side doesn't always get the levels of energy from the beginning of the workout as the dominant side does. Because when I go pick up a dumbbell, I use my right hand to pick up a dumbbell. But what if I use my left hand to go pick up a dumbbell? It would feel different in the left hand than it does in the right, because the right side is stronger. It's going to feel heavier in this hand than it does in this hand. This hand is stronger, this hand is not. And so that's why I tend to do the non-dominant training first on a lot of my exercises. It doesn't even have to be a Kathy Friedrich workout. It could be a firm workout. It could be a Windsor Pilates workout. It could be a Jillian Michaels workout. It doesn't matter. I'll try to do the non-dominant training first. If it's one side to the other type training, doing a right side versus left side or whatnot, I will try to do the non-dominant side first and then work the dominant side, just to give that non-dominant side a slight advantage, to train it a little differently. Okay, that is the last exercise that I wanted to demonstrate in the Body Blast series for the modifications, which means this video is just about over. And so the next video that I'll be doing will be for a different series, still using Kathy as not a template, but going through a lot of the Kathy videos and writing down the exercises that I know I can show modification on. That's what I'm doing. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you don't like it, it's okay. I'm not worried about it. Enjoy it if you can. Just trying to give little tidbits of advice when it's necessary and if I find it's helpful. So, bye. I'll see you on the next video.